you kind of smirking and laughing, it irks me.
It only does do that because Mr. Martin thinks he's the father. That's the only reason why.
Miss Bruton, of course Mr. Martin thinks he's the father.
Well, I wish he would do that.
Ms. Bruton here admitted to sleeping with both her boyfriend and ex-boyfriend, and now they both want to be the baby daddy. And that got hot, Judge Lauren Lake, as mad as you've ever seen her. And here is how it all began.
Ms. Bruton, you claim to be 100% positive that Mr. Martin is not your son's biological father because your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Richardson, is.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say today's DNA test will allow you to get rid of Mr. Martin and to finally reconcile your relationship with Mr. Richardson. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
For some reason, Ms. Bruton seems to be quite sure that her boyfriend is the father of her baby. But the ex-boyfriend wasn't going to let Ms. Bruton sell that story to the judge. He claimed he remembered being intimate with her around the window of conception. He started by saying this.
I know I had unprotected sex around the time that she conceived. She might say I didn't have it as many times she said I did, but I know it's a fact.
No.
And it's 99.7%
No, Your Honor.
that it is mine.
No, Your Honor. We only had unprotected sex twice.
No.
That's it.
Your Honor.
Twice.
Your Honor.
In my apartment twice.
Your Honor, it was 3 at her apartment, 2 at her family member house, 1 at my house, and 1 in the car.
Now, that's a really harsh thing to do, Ms. Bruton. She made him happy about the pregnancy and then pulled a fast one on him by vanishing into the air. But here's the crazy thing. Ms. Bruton was not sure who the father of her child could be, so what did she do? She decided to tell both of them that they could both be the father of the child.
First of all, I called both of them because I wasn't for sure who was the father because I slept with both of them around the same time.
Okay, so you do admit his testimony is true.
Yeah.
Take me back. I want to understand this relationship. So,
okay, me and Mr. Richardson, we was having our up and downs in our relationship. And so when I met Mr. Martin, I confided him as a friend, and then our friendship grew into a sexual relationship.
There's no denying it now. Ms. Bruton was the one who stepped out of line in the relationship. But there's more truth to be told. Apparently, Mr. Martin wasn't being so truthful with his side of the story. The judge asked him if he wanted to be in a relationship with Ms. Bruton, and the answer he gave was breathtaking. Here's what he had to say.
To guy, Mr. Martin, or did you think you were in a relationship?
Nah, I was just the go-to guy.
So you knew that?
Yeah, I knew that. I really wanted me a child at the time, so I was trying to get her pregnant, and I did tell her that.
You were trying to get somebody pregnant that you
pregnant.
didn't want to be in a relationship with?
Yeah, but I didn't want to be in a relationship with her.
But you were trying to get her pregnant?
Yes.
So you just gonna go out and just make a baby with anybody?
No, not with anybody, but
that's
I
what you're
I
saying.
gotta get to know you, though.
One thing is for sure. Mr. Martin just got on Judge Lauren's nerves. The window of conception hits the table, and both Ms. Bruton and Mr. Martin can't seem to agree on the days they were intimate with each other. Ms. Bruton claimed it was a certain date, while baby daddy claimed she wasn't telling the truth.
Wow.
Yes,
So
it
not
is true. We
So
only
not
had
true.
sex twice.
Listen, that's so not true.
You're disputing those days?
Yeah, yes, yes.
When
I'm
do
not
you say
disputing.
you were intimate?
Before the 7th, it was like on the 5th May. That was the first
That's
time.
only
that
So
was-
you're
Okay.
saying you were intimate with her before and after this
Yeah,
date of
before-
conception?
yeah,
well,
yeah,
let's
honey.
just be certain.
Before
what
she-
she has already testified to puts you in the window of conception, regardless.
Yes.
Sneaky little Ms. Bruton. She cheated and kept it a secret from her boyfriend? Wow. Could it get any worse? Anyway, Ms. Bruton claimed that it was her boyfriend who was by her side throughout the pregnancy. She claimed Mr. Martin was a pain in her ass, and all he tried to do was ruin her relationship with her boyfriend.
Who stepped up for you during this pregnancy?
Mr. Richardson.
Really?
Yes, I was trying my best to avoid Mr. Martin because he's very messy, trying to break up me and Mr. Richardson's
Listen.
relationship.
I didn't-
And I
But
want
when
Mr.
you
Rich-
told him he was a potential father,
Yes.
Wait, Mr. Martin, did you try to be there? Were you trying to go to
Yeah, he
Dr.
tried, but I've tried
At fir-
to.
at
No, I
first-
wasn't hearing
at
it. I
first
wasn't
she
seeing
did.
it.
At first she did. I was trying to do that.
At least she isn't denying shutting Mr. Martin out of the picture, but it gets tricky. Ms. Bruton allowed her boyfriend to sign the birth certificate because she wanted him to be the father. Or, as she put it, she believed and hoped he was the father. Even till this moment, she doesn't know if her boyfriend is actually the father of her child.
Because I wanted Mr. Richardson to know all of that. I didn't want Mr. Martin to know none of that because I don't want him to be
Just self.
Logan's father.
Just self.
So you allowed Mr. Richardson to sign the
Yes.
birth certificate because you think he's the father or because you hope he's the father?
I think he's the father, and I'm hoping he's the father.
Both. So now he's legally responsible for this child.
Yes.
Well, the case is not going to get any messier than this. Judge Lauren isn't going to sit around and watch these guys argue all day. The only way out of this mess is to reveal the DNA results. Is Mr. Martin going to end up being the father of the child?
Mr. Richardson, you are not the father.
What?
Mr. Martin.
I told you.
What?
I told you.
You are the father.
I told you. I knew what it was.
No, that is not possible.
I
That
know
is
they
not
ain't lying. I
possible.
knew they
man.
lying. I
That
knew
is
this.
not
I knew
possible.
this.
Mr. Angileri had an affair with a married woman and now believes he is the father of her child. Ms. Vargas, on the other hand, claims he can't be the father, and that just got on Judge Lauren's nerves. He stated his case by saying this.
Mr. Angileri, you claim the defendant, Ms. Vargas, was married and having an affair with you when she got pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
Now, you say she initially told you that you were not the father of her 11-month-old son, but then dropped the bomb that the child was indeed yours
That is correct. Your Honor.
after her marriage was over.
That is correct.
At least one fact has been established. They weren't in a relationship. Ms. Vargas needed a shoulder to cry on, and Mr. Angileri was her perfect subject. But things were about to get very intense. Mr. Angileri claimed that all he wanted to do was be there for Ms. Vargas when her relationship with her husband was rocky. But guess what? Ms. Vargas told the judge that all he wanted to do was get her pregnant.
One night, we ended up back at my place. We'd been at the club, we got turned up. We were out there doing our thing. We went to the house, started doing our thing.
Our thing,
Yeah.
Your Honor. That night, when we, had sexual intercourse, you planned to get me pregnant. I feel like you did.
Oh, no, that's a lie.
Hold on. I realize that you may hear some things that will evoke intense emotion.
Isn't that just cute? One would even think they were in a beautiful relationship with the way they spoke about each other. Moving on, when Ms. Vargas found out she was pregnant, she told Mr. Angileri that he was the father. After a while, she decided she wanted to work things out with her husband, and that's when her entire story changed.
I wanted it to
She
be.
told me the baby was mine, and the next thing you know, she's telling me it's her husband.
I wanted to work things out with my husband, Your Honor. I wanted to do
You
it
gotta
for
face
him.
reality.
So when you first found out you were pregnant, Ms. Vargas, did you call Mr. Angileri and say this child is yours? So you told him it was his.
I first did.
Then you decided I want to try to work this out with my husband, so you tell your husband that it's
There
his.
could be a chance that it was him.
Looks like her decision to want to work things out with her husband blew up in her face. While trying to work things out with her husband, she told Mr. Angileri that she needed some space and time to figure out a way. But Mr. Angileri just couldn't get the thought of being the child's father out of his head.
You asked him to give you some space because you're trying to work this out with your
Yes,
husband.
Your Honor.
I moved away anyhow.
You respected that to a certain extent, but in your mind, you knew that you could possibly
Well,
have a child.
I had a gut feeling, so come September-ish is when I contacted her husband and her, saying, you know what, reality, whether you dislike me, whether you like me, you need to let me know if this is my child when the kid is born. She never told me when he was born. I heard from people around town.
They aren't wrong about that, though, as the child needs to know who to call daddy and mummy. Even with both of them agreeing that they want to do right by the kid, Mr. Angileri claimed that he felt it in his gut that Ms. Vargas was trying to be shady with him and her husband. Here's why he felt that.
Get me for adultery or have anything happen with my children. I said, well, I can respect that. Do your thing. I moved up to Austin. She still lived down in Temple. I was 45 minutes away. I didn't talk to her. One of my friends that lived down in the same area told me, oh, she's getting big. She's ready to pop. So then come September, my conscience is really wearing out on me like, was she gonna tell me? Is she gonna let me know something? No, I didn't hear nothing. I moved to Washington.
If there is anything these guys are good at doing, trust me, it's arguing. Now, Mr. Angileri felt the only reason Ms. Vargas was coming back to him was because things did not work out for her and her husband. And most importantly, she didn't want her child growing up without a father.
Going well with them, I would never even hear about this. But I also see where she's coming from because she wants her son to have a father. And if he is my son, I want to be his father.
I'm just hurting for him because I want him to be there for him.
And if I'm his father, I will be there for him. But what I thought she was just trying to maybe get some money out of me, I have some evidence I'd like to.
Well, something definitely smells fishy about her story. First, she wants Mr. Angileri to be the father of her child, but she initially threatened to put a restraining order on him? Come on, Ms. Vargas. Something isn't right. Mr. Angileri had some evidence to back up his accusation, and here's what he showed the judge.
These are messages that say, I need you to give away your rights. I hope you stay away and never come around. I will put a restraining order on you.
What kind of mother does that when you think that's the father?
What had he done to warrant a restraining order?
Nothing, Your Honor.
So this is just angry
It's
talk.
just being angry. He wasn't there. He would always make excuses saying, oh, I can't send you money. One time, he said he was gonna send me money. I waited at Walmart.
From her tone, Judge Lauren is starting to lose her cool, trust me. One of the reasons Ms. Vargas changed her mind was that she claimed that as the baby got older, she noticed that he started to look like Mr. Angileri. But did Mr. Angileri feel the same same way about the child?
On that end. But then I also looked at, well, she's lied to me on numerous occasions. I lived in the same city as she did until the kid was 6 months old, 5 months old. Why couldn't she get a hold of me then?
I felt like he was starting to look more like you, and I wanted you to be there.
Do you think he looks like me now?
Yes.
Because my other 2 kids resemble me, spitting image.
I guess we know why he wants to be part of the baby's life if he ends up being the father of the child. Anyway, enough drama and testing Judge Lauren's anger. The results are in, and it's time we find out who the real father of the child is.
Mr. Angelari, you are the father.
That's all I've wanted. Like you said, everybody makes mistakes, but it's all about how you come out of it.
Ms. Curtis is in court to prove that her mother, Ms. Hall, kept her father's identity a secret. Now, she is determined to find out who her father is, and that just made Judge Llewellyn lose her cool. Ms. Curtis opened her case to the judge like this.
Miss Curtis, you have brought your mother, Ms. Hall, to court today because you say she hid the identity of your father from you for 14 years.
My grandmother, she sat me down and she said that she wanted to tell me the truth about who my father really is to be, and that my mother has been lying to me for the past years of my life, which was 14 years old.
Did she just say she always felt adopted? What secrets did Ms. Curtis's mother hide from her to make her feel like she was adopted? Anyway, Ms. Hall decided to explain why she kept the identity of her father a secret. In her explanation, she claimed that she did it because she was trying to protect her daughter.
I did not tell my daughter at a young age about who her father was. Simply one, because I was a young girl. I was pregnant at the age of 15. I gave birth to her when I was 16 years old. When I was 15, I met Kurt. And Kurt lived pretty much like a fast lifestyle.
Okay.
And, which attracted me to him. And being young.
At least she was honest in the courtroom. She fooled around when she was much younger and found herself in a hot mess. Now, when Ms. Curtis confronted her mom about keeping her father's real identity a secret, this is how it played out.
She began to tell me her own version of the story about who my alleged father at the time. She said, he's not really your dad, baby. And I said, okay, I already know that. My Nana already told me. She told me another name. She didn't tell me Kirk's name. She gave me another name. So I said, oh, I'm just so happy. I'm gonna call Nana and I'm gonna tell her that such and such is my dad. And then she goes, oh, no. I need to tell you the truth.
I bet Ms. Hall wasn't expecting her daughter to come at her like that. In no time, Ms. Curtis got emotional. She was hurt that her mother kept such a huge secret from her when, deep down in her heart, she craved the attention of a father figure in her life. Even Judge Lauren could feel the pain in her heart.
I don't care what she's saying. I wanted a dad. I've always wanted a dad. You can be that mother. You can always be a mother in someone's life, but I still need my own father figure. It doesn't matter at all.
Miss Hall, can you understand how this news, it was like a bomb just dropped on her?
Trust me, being in Ms. Curtis's shoes will suck right now. Ms. Hall tried to explain to the judge that her daughter was trying to exaggerate the situation with tears in her eyes, but Judge Lauren stopped her before she could even finish her sentence.
I feel like she's making this be more than what it is.
But no. Now, Miss Hall, before you start minimizing, you gotta listen to your daughter because she's telling you what she feels. This was an event that everybody I knew got to go to. It's called the father-daughter dance, and when she said it, my heart dropped to my feet because I've been to the father-daughter dance.
I honestly don't want a mom like Ms. Hall. That's just evil right there. When Ms. Curtis found the identity of her real dad, she started to send him letters, hoping they could reunite and be a family. But her mom came into the picture and made that an impossibility. Ms. Curtis even had some evidence to back up her claim.
The letter right here.
Jerome,
This is the first time she'll ever see the letter.
He does state he's willing to be the father she needs and deserves, and it's signed Kirk.
And Your Honor, I know you may not understand how I feel about this right here, but that's where I feel like I was deceived and crossed because I had my time that I had set aside to do the right thing.
If these two are left alone, they might turn it into a boxing match. Judge Lauren was ready to hear from the man Ms. Hall claimed was her daughter's biological father. To everyone's surprise, he also had doubts about being Ms. Curtis's biological father. This was the reason he gave to the judge.
Well, Your Honor, I'm actually somewhat doubtful. And having said that, it's because the way the situation went down. When Tamika initially told me, hey, I'm pregnant, you're the father. But as I remember, she was also in a relationship with someone else. That was actually convenient for me, being that I was with somebody. So I mean, I'll take my part. Hey,
So you're saying she told you she was pregnant, you thinking to yourself, it could easily be someone else.
Wow, that certainly adds a lot of confusion to the whole story. The only way out of this messy situation is to have the DNA test revealed. And Judge Lauren was ready to do just that. This was Judge Lauren's verdict.
Mr. Whitaker, you are her father.
Judge Lauren got super mad in this episode about Ms. Moyetti being left to take care of her little baby girl all alone. Judge Lauren was really in no mood to smile. The whole situation began like this.
Moyette, you're here in court today to prove that Mr. Lester, a man who is 20 years older than you, is the father of your 3-month-old daughter, Nyla Moyette. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim Mr. Lester has done nothing for your daughter, therefore you're suing for half of child rearing expenses.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, Your Honor, Mr. Lester has hardly been involved in Nyla's life.
Things were never all lovey-dovey between Mr. Lester and Ms. Moyette. When she found out she was pregnant, she told Mr. Lester. But was he excited about the baby? Hell no. It was like the baby was going to spoil all the fun he was having.
When you told him about the pregnancy, what was his reaction, Ms. Moyette?
He was not happy. I actually planned this pregnancy. I went over his house the day I was ovulating, okay? And I let him know, babe, I'm ovulating. I want to have a baby. We did nothing.
That is not true.
Yeah, we did nothing to prevent Nyla. And to make matters even worse, since I've had Nyla, we still haven't done anything to prevent another one.
Mr. Lester wasn't going to allow her to state the obvious, so he jumped in and called her a big fat liar. He said that all she said was in her head, and they hadn't been intimate in a really long while. Well, I sure saw that coming. He denied it all. But the revelations from Ms. Moyette will leave you in so much shock.
That's a lie. Now, it's not, Yana, we've had sex since I've had my daughter 5 times. I've counted.
And
Yesterday when you had sex, did you use protection?
Yeah.
No.
Iris.
Your Honor, I have no reason to lie. I planned my baby's pregnancy. I planned this. I wanted to be with him. I still want to be with him.
Mr. Lester isn't being nice to Ms. Moyette at all in the courtroom. He kept emphasizing the fact that he didn't want a relationship with Ms. Moyette. He said he just wanted to have a good time, but Ms. Moyette was insistent on having a baby for him. Now, who's telling the truth? I'm pretty confused at this point.
I did want that, and she agreed to it.
I agreed to it in the beginning, and when he told me that he loved me, it opened me up to the fact that, well, maybe it could be. I mean, my background is not the best as far as me and my father. So him coming along, being older, being what I wanted from my father, I clung to that.
It was war in that courtroom. The things that were coming out of both Mr. Lester's and Ms. Moyette's mouths were just very unbelievable. Even Judge Lauren was very confused, as she couldn't make sense of it.
You're 45 years old.
Absolutely.
So when a woman says to you, I want to have your baby, and you say, no, I really don't want you to, and you're still having sex without protecting yourself, you're setting yourself up.
I've only had sex with Iris for 5 times.
That's a lie. You've never used
Your
a
Honor.
condom. Now, with the girls that he's cheating on me with.
Mr. Lester, who never wanted to have a kid with Ms. Moyette, stated that he had doubts about the baby being his. Was he being delusional? I mean, he was basically sleeping with Ms. Moyette without using protection. Trust me, people, these two are nuts.
Better than me, and I asked her, well, why you calling me tonight? Her response to me was, I could do both of y'all. I could do him Monday and do you Tuesday.
Yana, that's a lie. Let me tell you, that's a lie, Yana.
Thirdly, I come by, I see her with the same guy over and over and over again.
The neighborhood
The
guy.
neighborhood guy, yes. Over and over and over again. She admitted to having sex with that guy.
Well, it's finally time to uncover the truth after so many lies and deceptions. The day of reckoning is finally here. So take a deep breath, because the truth is finally going to be exposed.
Mr. Lester, you are Nyla's father.
Yes! Yes!
Ma'am.
Didn't I tell you?
Ma'am.
Didn't I tell
You
you?
need to be respectful.
Didn't I tell you?
Ma'am, I understand you're upset. Use proper language. Do not approach him.
Didn't I tell you?